Welcome back to She's All Business. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about my life and kind of connecting what's going on right now in my life to the previous episode, Tiffany's All Business with Tiffany Webber. So, Tiffany was talking about her entire career and how she started out in museum curation and now kind of ended up with fashion show production as her kind of end all be all career. She talked about how after college and like in graduate school, she started with museum curation, and then the rest of her 20s till the time she was about 35 was fully focused on museum curation. She met somebody and made a connection with the fashion show production side of things and ended up switching careers at 35 to now and is continuing to do fashion show production. I think her story is a really great one to hear, and it's an important lesson that your 20s is not your end all be all. She learned so many things in her 20s and thought that was going to be what the rest of her career looked like, but actually, the stuff that she did in her 20s and early 30s really helped her moving forward when she switched careers. She told us a story about right after she had her son, she took him to nursery school and she ended up meeting this girl there who worked at Inca Productions, and they were looking to move Inca Productions, which was solely based in London, to New York. And she was kind of talking to her about this, and that's kind of how she made the connection with production. And she ended up just helping out one day because they needed somebody, and they reached out to her to see if she could find any students that she was teaching that would be interested in helping them out for one of the events, and nobody could, so she just was like, hey, I can do it, and agreed to go help them. And that began the second part of her career. When she was there, she kind of just did the tasks that they gave her, but then when she was done with that, they said, you can stay if you want, you can hang out, and she did. And she realized that they still needed help and hands to do a bunch of things, so she decided to just jump in and help them out because a lot of the things that they were doing were very similar to what her and her old co-workers would do with museum curation. Tiffany's story really reminds me a lot of the first guest on the show, Pooja Patel. Pooja started out in finance and kind of was working in that more business end of things. Then she kind of transitioned into fashion very slowly, and then she fully began to become a stylist and work for other stylists. One thing that set Pooja apart from others when she was applying to be an assistant to celebrity stylist and personal stylist was that she brought the business side of fashion to the job that not many others did. Because Pooja understood finance and the numbers of it all, it really helped her moving forward, and that's how she got the job. And also, she taught her boss that there is really a business side to this whole styling world that she started to be a part of. The idea of switching careers completely or just switching jobs is really intimidating and really scary. But I think from Tiffany sharing her story and also Pooja sharing her story in November, that it seems scary at first, but once you're in it, you'll realize all the stuff that you've learned and the tasks and skills that you've accumulated over time in your first career could actually play a huge, huge part in your future career or one that you're thinking about switching into. You don't know what things that you learned will translate into your new position, but you having your first job in like museum curation like Tiffany, thinking that's going to be what you do for the rest of your life because you're interested in history and fashion and kind of combining the two, to then fully pivoting to fashion show production, which is very cyclical. She realized when she started that there was a translation a little bit because museum curation is making an event for people to see and kind of working with people to get things in the space in a particular way. And that's extremely similar, if not almost the same thing, to production with fashion shows and luxury events. It's just different topics are being talked about with it. So she found an easy connection with that. Moving on to another big thing that she talked about was connections and networking. We talk about this every single episode with a guest, in a reflection. Everybody talks about connections and networking, and you hear that all the time. People tell you that all the time, that the most important thing about working in any industry is connections and networking, but you don't really understand the impact and how powerful that idea is until you're actually in it. I remember I would used to hear people being like, you have to talk to people, you have to meet people, you won't get anywhere if you don't know anybody in your industry. I kind of let that go in one ear and out the other because I didn't really take it as seriously as I should have. And I just didn't realize in the moment that, like, yeah, this is what's going to be your end all be all, is like knowing people. A little story that I want to share kind of about connections is about a stylist assistant that I met a little over a year ago. We've worked on projects together as assistants or as interns together, and she's a little bit older than me, so she moved on to being an assistant before I even met her. She reached out to me to be an assistant for a styling job that she had. To be completely frank, she was an assistant for the head stylist, so I would basically be more of an intern, just helping her out. So she reached out. I didn't have any details, but it was just like, this is the day, this is the time, are you able to help me? And unfortunately, I was out of town, so I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, I can't help you out. Let me know next time, like, if I'm available, I'd love to help you. And she was like, no problem. Can you just send me a couple contacts that you think would be good for this, that you trust to work with and get things done efficiently? And I'm like, sure. So I sent her like a couple contacts and I kind of explained how I knew them and how much I've worked with them. The day of the shoot came and I got a text from one of the people that I recommended to her to help out. And she was just thanking me and really appreciating that I noticed her hard work when I worked with her like 2 or 3 times, like months prior to this, and just thanking me for my generosity and like that I would think of her to be good for this position. And that just made me feel a little good that I was able to really help somebody out and make them feel so appreciative of an opportunity. It just made me feel good and made me happy for them. And when she reached out to me, I kind of asked her what was the shoot for, like what was it? I never got any information. And she ended up telling me, which I got a little jealous when she told me this, that it was for People Magazine's 2024 Sexiest Man Alive, which ended up being John Krasinski. And as a huge fan of The Office, I was super, super jealous, but I was really happy that I was able to give her that opportunity. And the lead stylist that did the Sexiest Man Alive photo shoot actually is an amazing stylist. I've never met her. I'm pretty sure she's LA based, but she styles Barry Keoghan, Adam Brody, and Leighton Meester, and she always does such an amazing job. But that was a connection that I made with the assistant that ended up allowing me to help somebody else, which made me feel amazing. But also that connection that I made with the person that I helped, she didn't realize that meeting me and just working with me once or twice on the intern project when we were both interns would turn into me getting her an assistant job for a really big cover shoot. So yeah, the importance of connections, you never really realize until you're in it, but take it from me, somebody who didn't believe it for a second, or that's not true. I just like didn't take it seriously and I didn't think of it as a priority. Like I just thought of it as if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But now that I'm in it, I just go out of my way to make connections, even if it doesn't work out, because you never know when you'll need that person or they'll need you. So overall, I feel like just learn as much as you can. Do so many things, do everything of your interest. You never know what you do that will teach you something that you're going to need to know later down the line. Learn as much as you can, do as much as you can. But one of the first things I want you to take away from this episode is everything that you do in life can benefit you so much in your future that you have no idea or can't even fathom as a possibility yet. Keep learning, never stop educating yourself, even if you don't go to school or you're not going to continue school. Keep teaching yourself things that you are passionate about. The second thing I want you to take away is keep introducing yourself to people. Take the idea of connections and networking so seriously. It is so important. Every single episode I talk about this or my guest talks about it. So if 14 episodes down the line and each episode we've talked about it, you have to understand that it is so important. You never know when somebody random is going to come along and be able to help you or offer you an opportunity for you to help them. So, thank you guys so much for listening this week. I hope you guys had a great week and I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Next week, we have such an amazing episode with a designer, and she's also a VIP tailor. She works with a lot of celebrity clients and she is so talented. I'm super excited for you guys to meet her. And be sure to listen to the previous episode, Tiffany's All Business, if you haven't already. She offers shadowing opportunities for any new school student and also offers networking opportunities for anybody that's not a new school student that would still be interested in talking and connecting with her. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week.